Hey guys, let's study the Bible together. And today we are going to look at Matthew chapter 1. I will read the verses and then we are going to discuss it right after that. So here is Matthew chapter 1 from the New King James Version. 1. The book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. 2. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. And Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers. 3. And Judah begot Perez and Zerah by Tamar. And Perez begot Hezron, and Hezron begot Ram. 4. And Amminadab begat Solomon, and Solomon begat Boaz. And Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse. 5. And Jesse begat David the king, and David the king begat Solomon. 6. And Solomon begat Rehoboam, and Rehoboam begat Abijah, and Abijah begat Asa. 7. And Asa begat Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat begat Joram, and Joram begat Uzziah. 8. And Uzziah begat Jotham, and Jotham begat Ahaz, and Ahaz begat Hezekiah. 9. And Hezekiah begat Manasseh, and Manasseh begat Ammon, and Ammon begat Josiah. 10. And Josiah begat Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the deportation to Babylon. 11. And Jeconiah begat Shealtiel, and Shealtiel begat Zerubbabel. 12. And Zerubbabel begat Abi, and Abi begat Isai. And Isai begat Mordecai. 13. And Mordecai begat Bigthnas, and Bigthnas begat Shas, and Shas begat Shaphan. 16. And Mahlah, and Noadiah, and Ahaziah, and Ezer, and Hezekiah, all of them being the sons of Putiel, the son of Ishmael, the son of Abraham. 17. For Ishmael was the father of 12 princes or leaders, and this is their record. 18. Now this is the genealogy of Jesus Christ. His mother Mary was of the lineage of David. His father Joseph was of the lineage of Abraham. All right, so now that we read it, let's discuss it. As you can see, Matthew opens up with Jesus' genealogy. In fact, the word genealogy is derived from the Greek word Genesis, which means origin or birth record. So the first part of Matthew is like the introduction. It tells us where Jesus is coming from. Matthew lists the ancestors of Jesus and links Jesus to two important people in the Old Testament, Abraham and David. This is important because Abraham is the father of many nations, but more specifically, the father of the nation of Israel, and David was the second king of Israel. By linking Jesus to these two men, Matthew is telling us that Jesus is the Messiah promised to Abraham and the descendant of David. Now Matthew lists all these names because he wants to show that Jesus is the long-awaited Savior. You see, the Jewish people have been waiting for the Messiah for 400 years. So Matthew wants to make sure that his Jewish audience knows that Jesus is the one. Also, there is a pattern in this list of names, and it's actually good to know if you want to understand the Bible better. Let me explain. Look at verse 17. It says, For Ishmael was the father of 12 princes or leaders, and this is their record. So far, Matthew has listed 42 names, and now he's grouping them into 12 groups of 3. So there are 3 names in each group, and each group represents one of the 12 tribes of Israel. So the idea is that Jesus belongs to God's people. He is part of the nation of Israel, and he is their Messiah. Then in verses 18 to 23, Matthew gives us Jesus' genealogy again, but this time he focuses on Mary, Jesus' mother. Why? Well, Matthew wants to prove that Jesus is truly David's descendant. And since Mary is from the Davidic line, Matthew uses her genealogy to trace Jesus' roots back to David. This is important because the Messiah was supposed to be from the line of David. This is what the Old Testament prophet said would happen. So Matthew is showing how Jesus fulfills the Old Testament prophecies. Now, there are a couple of interesting things in this passage. First of all, when you look at the genealogy, you will notice that there are only 3 women mentioned, and that is Eve, Ruth, and Mary. Why does Matthew mention these 3 women and not the others? Well, first, Eve is the first woman. She is the mother of all humanity, and she is in the genealogy to show that sin entered the world through her son, and that ultimately it is through her descendants that the Messiah will come. Next, Ruth is from the Old Testament, and she is known for her faithfulness to God and to Israel. She is in the genealogy to show that God will bless Israel even among the nations. Finally, Mary is also from the Old Testament, and she is the mother of Jesus. She is in the genealogy to show that Jesus is truly a part of the nation of Israel. The next part of Matthew tells the story of Joseph and Mary traveling to Bethlehem. They have to do this because a census was being conducted throughout the Roman Empire, and everyone had to travel to their ancestral hometown to be counted. So Joseph, since he was a descendant of David, had to go to Bethlehem, which was David's city. But while they were there was no room for them in the inn, and so Jesus ended up being born in a manger. And I think that's just amazing. The Messiah, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, was born in a humble stable, laid in a manger like an animal. How humbling is that? And then soon after Jesus was born, there was this angel that appeared to Joseph in a dream and told him to take Jesus and his mom and flee to Egypt because King Herod wanted to kill Jesus. So they left during the night and stayed in Egypt until Herod died. After Herod died, another angel told Joseph to take Jesus and his mom and go back to Israel. Then Matthew tells us that Joseph and his family moved to the city of Nazareth, and that's why Jesus is called a Nazarene. And then Matthew ends this chapter by quoting Isaiah 7:14. Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Now Matthew is saying that what Isaiah said about Emmanuel will now be fulfilled in Jesus. And if you look closely, you will see that the name Emmanuel means God with us. And that's exactly what Jesus came to do. John 1:14 says, And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, glory as of the only begotten from the Father, full of grace and truth. So yes, Jesus is our Emmanuel, our God with us. Now, what do you think about Matthew's genealogy? Do you find it helpful to know who Jesus is related to? If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. All right, until next time, take care.